All right, I am defense attorney, Ms. Thomas, Thomas.
I'm also for defense, Mr. Murphy, Murphy.
I am the witness.
And I am plaintiff attorney, Mr. Gilbert.
Okay, starts with a question by me. Ready? Have you ever had a deposition taken before?
Yes.
Under what circumstances have you been deposed?
Involving a car accident.
Were you a party to that lawsuit or a witness?
I guess my insurance company was the party, but yes, I assume I was too, yeah.
Were you the injured party or the one being sued?
Just explain it in your own words.
A friend of mine borrowed my car and got in an accident, and he got killed, and he killed someone else in another car. So the person that he killed sued my insurance company, or sued me. So I went to a deposition for my testimony on that.
The deposition being the basis upon which you loaned the car to him?
Right, yes.
Have you been involved in any other lawsuits other than this one and the lawsuit you just described involving the auto accident?
No.
All right then. Now, when did you first become aware that your brother Mark had a mole on his arm?
I assume you meant to refer to his shoulder as opposed to his arm.
On his shoulder, yes, fine.
When he was going up to Stanford, he went to Stanford to a doctor there to be examined.
Did you have any conversations with your brother about the condition of his shoulder prior to May 1984?
84? I can't seem to remember.
Are you having problems with when he went to Stanford?
Yeah, what's the date?
Approximately May of '84,
He went to Stanford?
he went to Stanford.
Can you repeat the question?
Did you have any conversations with your brother Mark about the condition of his shoulder prior to the time he went to Stanford in May 1984?
No.
Have you at any time had any conversations with Billy Brewer about what he observed as to your brother's shoulder prior to May 1984?
No.
Do you know who Billy Brewer is?
Yes.
And you have not talked to Billy Brewer at any time about the condition of your brother's shoulder in 1983 or 1984?
Not that I can remember.
Have you had any conversations with a Gary Pardis? Do you know Gary Pardis?
Uh-huh.
Have you had any discussions with Gary Pardis about the condition of your brother's shoulder that he may have seen in 1983 or 84?
I talked to him after 84 about it.
What did he tell you about the condition of your brother's shoulder after 1984?
It seemed like he noticed a lump or a bulge on it when they were playing tennis.
Your father and you have both answered questions identifying these people as knowing something about the condition of the shoulder.
Right.
And your father testified that you looked for witnesses after 1984 and that these were among them.
Uh-huh.
Did Gary Pardis tell you when he saw swelling on the shoulder?
If so, I can't remember when it was.
Was it in the summer of 1983 after the mole was removed that he mentioned the swelling?
Yes, I think so.
Do you have any specific recollection of what Gary Pardis said to you?
Just that he noticed the swelling on Buzz's shoulder, or that, Buzz was going to a doctor. They played a lot of tennis together, so they were good friends.
Do you recall anything Gary Pardis said that was more specific as to when these things occurred?
No.
Do you know Andrew Osborne?
Andrew who?
Osborne.
No.
Have you spoken with anyone yourself who was aware of the condition of your brother's shoulder after he had the mole removed by Dr. Dorian in July 1983 up to the time that he went to Stanford in May 1984?
No.
Have you talked to any medical doctors who have expressed an opinion that there was negligence on someone's part in taking care of your brother?
I personally didn't speak to a doctor.
Who did that you are aware of other than your lawyer?
Brian told us in his office.
Let's not go into our conversations.
Yes.
Have you spoken with anybody other than me?
My dad.
And what has your father told you as far as someone stating to him that there was negligence in taking care of your brother?
Well, that the pathologists, Hill and Simmons, read the report totally wrong and that they were negligent in that procedure.
Who gave your father that opinion?
That was the report that he saw after Stanford. I guess it was a report from Stanford that said that Buzz had cancer.
So your father's opinion expressed to you was based upon a report from Stanford?
Right.
Has your father told you of anyone else who expressed an opinion that Dr. Hill and Dr. Simmons were negligent in reading the slide?
Not that I know of.
Did you attend any doctor's visits with your brother during the course of his medical care?
No.
I understand that your father went to Stanford with your brother. You did not accompany them on those trips?
Absolutely. I went to Stanford and they put him in his room and the doctor entered and talked to all of us.
Was this the first occasion he had gone to Stanford?
Yes, and that's the first occasion that I was, well, not the first occasion. However, that's when I finally realized there was something wrong with my brother's shoulder.
Was that Dr. Nelson?
I think it was an intern that came in and talked to us.
And what did the intern say that you recall?
I think he was explaining that was going to be done.
And do you know what that was?
That was removal of the mass in the shoulder.
Were you present in any other conversations in which doctors discussed your brother's medical condition?
Not at that time, not at Stanford, no.
Wait a minute, anywhere else? Were you present for any other conversations regarding your brother's medical condition anywhere else at any time?
The only doctors I ever talked to were the ones when he was at community hospital. And, you know, I would ask how he was doing and things like that, but that's about all. They never really talked to me.
Okay. Who would this have been that you talked to at community hospital?
Gee, I don't remember who it was. I don't remember which doctor it was. I have no idea. I remember he walked in to examine Buzz, and I went out, and I asked him how Buzz was doing.
Do you want to take another break?
Good idea.
Off the record.
All right, back on the record. Mr. Ryan, is Dr. Dorian your doctor?
No.
Have you sought any medical care as the result of your brother's death?
Yes.
What medical care have you sought?
I go to a dermatologist every 6 months.
And who is that?
Dr. Glenn Metz.
And what is the complaint that causes you to see Dr. Metz?
Pardon me?
Why do you go see Dr. Metz?
Well, I have moles on my body, and my wife thought it was a good idea to have it checked because if my brother died of cancer, I might be susceptible to it too. So I was taking preventive measures.
Has Dr. Metz reassured you that there is nothing to be concerned about from your moles?
As of now, yes.
On how many occasions have you seen Dr. Metz since August 1984?
Oh, probably 7 times.
Have all of those visits been to have him check the condition of moles?
Yes.
When was the last visit to Dr. Metz?
3 months ago, 2 months ago.
Are you under the care of any other medical doctor besides Dr. Metz?
No.
Have you sought care from any psychiatrist or psychologist other than your father having to do with your brother's death?
Just my father.
And on how many occasions have you consulted your father in a doctor-patient relationship having to do with your brother's death? Do you understand that?
Will you repeat that, please?
All right. Mr. Ryan, you obviously have an ongoing relationship with your father. As your father?
Right.
I'm asking you, have there been times that you have seen your father, talk to your father in his professional capacity as a clinical psychologist rather than as your father?
How many times have I seen him?
If you can make that distinction for us.
Oh, dozens.
And when have those visits taken place?
Since the death of Buzz till the present?
Has your father suggested that you should see a medical doctor, a psychiatrist?
No.
Has he at any point stated that he believed that you needed any kind of medication?
No.
Do you believe that your medical condition, to the extent that it relates to your brother's death, has improved?
Somewhat. I'm still depressed and angry. A lot of things don't seem real important like they used to.
Did your brother contribute to your father's financial support?
Yes.
And how much? Do you know?
He was always sending her $50.
On how frequent a basis?
I'm sure at least once a month or more.
Now, your brother did not contribute to your father's financial support. Your father was self-supporting?
Yes.
Did Buzz support Jonah, Mr. Ryan?
Who?
Jonah.
Oh, Jonah? Yes.
What is Jonah's last name?
Nunley. I think that's it. I'm not sure because I just knew him by Jonah. I don't remember if he has his real father's name or his mother's original name or if he had Buzz's name. I'm not certain.
Do you know, did Buzz ever formally legally adopt him?
I don't believe so, no.
Do you know what Jonah's real father's name was?
I have no idea.
Do you know when your brother Mark, that you call Buzz, started to support Jonah?
I'm trying to think. A couple of years before Buzz passed away, I would say they were living together. He was living with Heidi and Jonah as a family.
Did Heidi also contribute to Jonah's financial support?
I don't know.
Did she work during that period of time? To your knowledge, did Heidi work?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
I'm going to object as vague and ambiguous. At what point in time?
During the 2 years they lived together as a family, the 2 years prior to your brother's death, did Heidi work?
Let me see.
We don't want you to guess or speculate or make up an answer just because you think Mrs. Thomas needs an answer. If you don't recall, that's a perfectly okay response.
I can't recall, yeah.
I don't think I have anything else at this time.
Did you see your brother's shoulder in 1984?
Yes.
When did you first see the shoulder? You can just give me an approximation.
Right before he went to Stanford.
Did he tell you that he had been to Dr. Dorian about the shoulder in 1983?
Well, I don't know if I got that information from him or from my father, but yes,
You eventually got that information?
that he had seen Dr. Dorian.
Do you know why he had seen Dr. Dorian in 1983?
From what I was told, he had a mole on his shoulder.
Do you know what Dr. Dorian did for that mole in 1983?
From what I was told, it was removed.
Do you know?
And it was checked by Hill and Simmons, and they said it was negative. It was non-cancerous. There was nothing wrong with him.
Do you remember now who told you the mole was removed and it was checked?
My father most likely told me.
Do you know whether your brother saw Dr. Dorian after the mole was excised before May of '84?
I think he did, yes.
Do you remember when he saw Dr. Dorian?
I don't know the dates.
Do you know why he saw Dr. Dorian?
His shoulder was bothering him. It was swelling up.
You don't remember your brother ever telling you any of this, however?
Not at that time, no. He didn't take it very seriously because he assumed there was nothing wrong with him, and then he went back to Dr. Dorian. Nothing seemed to be done.
Look, it's important that you say what you know. Don't speculate or guess what might have been in Buzz's mind.
Okay,
Okay, we're asking what is in your knowledge, firsthand knowledge, but don't guess what's in anybody else's mind.
okay.
We're asking you what information you picked up from other people other than your attorney and what you observed or you know by your own first-hand knowledge, okay?
Uh-huh.
Do you understand that?
And remember, you're required to answer verbally.
Okay, well, yes.
What are some of the things that your brother liked to do in his spare time?
Play tennis. That's all he ever did was play tennis. No, he did enjoy working and playing tennis.
And he played tennis in Salinas, is that correct?
Yes?
At a club there?
Chamizel.
In 1983, how often did he play tennis there?
Oh, probably, it seems like he would go out there several times a week and just about every weekend.
Do you know how many games he would play at one time?
I don't know. I didn't participate myself.
Did you ever observe him play tennis?
Yeah, occasionally we used to go out there and watch him in some of the tournaments and things.
Who is we?
My dad and I.
Did Heidi go and watch him?
She never accompanied us. Like, we'd be driving by and we'd say, let's go watch Buzz play tennis, and we would go.
Do you know of any tennis partner that he liked to play with?
Gary Pardis, Mr. Freeman.
Would that be Steve Freeman?
Yes, correct,
The attorney, Steve Freeman?
correct.
I doubt that there's another.
All right. Was your brother right-handed or left-handed?
Left-handed?
In 1983, he had his own construction business, didn't he?
Yes.
Do you remember the name of that business?
Ryan Construction.
In 1983, you moved to Carmel Valley to work on another project.
I didn't move. I was working over there. I was commuting to Carmel Valley.
You had a full-time job over there,
Correct.
and you stayed there about how long?
I worked on that job from February of '83 to, yes, it was over 2 years, approximately 2 to 2.5 years working on that one job.
Did your brother ever complain to you about his left shoulder before the time he went to Stanford?
No, he didn't.
Do you know whether he complained to anybody else about his left shoulder before that time he went to Stanford?
I think he had talked to Gary Pardis about it and Billy Brewer.
Okay. I am defense attorney Mr. Wish. W-I-S-C-H.
I'm also for defense, Mr. Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N.
I am the witness, Paul Chow, C-H-A-O.
And I am plaintiff Mr. Derzurick, D-E-Z-U-R-I-C-K, and it begins with me. We'd like to start out by having this marked as Exhibit 1. It's the affidavit of Paul Chow. Can you state your full name for the record, please?
Paul Chow.
I've had marked as Exhibit 1 to this deposition the affidavit of Paul Chow. Could you take a look at that affidavit?
All of them, or?
Well, would you look at the signature page to the affidavit, which is page 13?
Yes.
Is that your signature?
Yes.
So you are Paul Chow referred to in this affidavit.
Yes.
Do you reside at 6299 Balsam Drive, San Jose, California?
Yes.
Have you resided there since December of 1979?
Yes.
Were you one of the founding shareholders and officers of the two entities organized under the laws of the Republic of China, Deco Taiwan Corporation and Taiwan Deco Electronics Corporation.
Yes,
Were these companies formed beginning in about May of 1980?
yes,
Were they formed to engage in the business of assembly and sub-assembly of electronic products and in general trading?
yes,
Was Louis Chin the chairman of the board of both companies?
yes,
Were you the president of both companies?
yes,
Was Lawrence Cho the vice president of Taiwan Deco Electronics Corporation?
yes,
That is the manufacturing corporation.
yes,
Was Don Yu the vice president of Deco Taiwan Corporation?
yes,
That was the general trade corporation.
yes,
From this point forward, counsel, I'm objecting to any leading questions. This is your witness. This is not cross-examination.
Joined.
If you restrict your questions to such that the answers may be given fully by the witness, other than the form of the question that you're presenting,
Have you read exhibits 1A through 1D of Don Yu's deposition?
yes,
They set out, I believe, shareholding interests in the two companies. Do they actually reflect the shareholding interest in those companies?
objection. I think we've got to have the exhibits here, and we would raise objection as to the best evidence rule.
Joined.
During the time that you were employed by the Deco companies, the Taiwan Deco companies, did they act as a single company?
That question is vague, objected to as being ambiguous, but you may answer.
yes.
How long have you known Don Yu?
Since July 79.
Where does he reside?
You want the name of the city or what?
Yes, that is fine.
I think it's in San Jose, California.
Were you employed at any time by Demerco Electronics?
Yes.
Was Don Yu employed by Demerco Electronics?
No. Don Yu was employed by Demerco Enterprises Corporation.